Good morning. First words I've said all day, out loud anyway. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I was gonna say I almost called this the 8 a.m. YouTube live, but then I realized it's 7 a.m. I also realized that my picture is way too big here, so instead of looking at my big old face, I'm gonna shrink down this picture and I'm gonna increase the chat so I can um, see what you're writing. So good morning, everybody. Um, Happy April 8th. Garrett Phillips, nice to see you. Good morning. I'm raising my cup of tea to you. Ah, it has not steeped quite yet, and yet it is good to have something going into the system. So good morning, good morning. 7 a.m. We got a bunch of early birds here. Oh, look, we got Laura Voorhees. Oh, and thank you for calling me lovely. I'd say I literally rolled out of bed. I don't know if I rolled, but I just got out of bed. MV Holder, Shannon in retrograde. Nice to see you all. Cheers, dears. And look, every little bit helps. That's the mug of choice today. I'm also choosing to use this chapstick that I like, but I know is going to leave little lippy marks on my chest, my said mug. Judy Dukes, Louise. So we got a cool crew. We got a cool crew here. Oh, Garrett, up since 2:30. No fun, hun. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it happens. That one persona saying good morning, early morning Beth is a motivator that I need to get up and get moving. Well, I don't know about need, but it sure probably makes it a lot easier, right? That's what I'll give you. Um, yeah, okay. So Laura Voorhees rolled out to clean up kitty messes and crawled back into bed. Got to pry myself out. Yes, I pried myself out of the bed a few minutes ago. I was scrolling. Excuse me. I was checking my emails. I was checking my schedule. Um, but hey, here we are. Here we are. Some of us are out of bed. Some of us threw on some clothes. Others of us are in various states, in literally and metaphorically. Um, but we're here and we're together, and that's good. And we're going to spread some sunshine, like Spreading Sunshine says. And Penny Myers, yeah, yeah, it is a need. Lots of laundry on the bed that needs to be sorted. Okay, categories, names of categories that you sort your laundry into. So notice, sorting is categorizing. You sort things into piles of, as we used to say. Now, I don't remember if it was Pier 1 or Mikasa or Filene's or whatever, but like items together. Like items together. Socks with socks, T-shirts with T-shirts, etc., etc. All right. Well, we'll keep you company doing that laundry on the bed that needs to be sorted. I am here this morning at 7 a.m., as I have been for many Tuesdays, because I get an early start to my coaching today. So I thought that this would be a good one for the other early birds. Now, Garrett Phillips, I feel bad that you were up since 2:30. It is going to happen. So what I offer to you, just as a word, as like a loving auntie or what whomever, is remember that today, when you may not remember it, but you might be getting tired sooner than you would have had you had kind of a larger amount of sleep. This is the kind of checking your gas tank portion of the show. So we may still be waking up, but checking how you're feeling right now, if you're feeling kind of tired, and then remembering, oh, that's right. For me, it will be like, oh, that's right. That's why I feel maybe extra tired, because I hit the ground running at 7 a.m. and I have a bunch of things. And so I used a lot of my energy earlier in the day. And therefore, in the late afternoon, early evening is when I'm kind of out of gas and I need to restore, you know? Um, there we go. Laura Voorhees says, I'm going to be kind to myself and put nap on the to-do list. And I'm going to highlight it in the color that means something good for myself. And she's going to put a nap on the to-do list since the kitty woke me up in the middle of the night. There was something I saw TikTok or a YouTube live recent or a YouTube. I saw a video. I don't know where I saw it, what channel it was on, and it said, "There's nothing that will get you out of bed faster than the sound of your pet about to throw up." We all know that. I remember when we had our dog Rigby, he, you could hear it and you were up even before your eyes were open, your body was out of bed, try to get him somewhere where he would minimize the damage. So good for you for doing that, and good for all of y'all. What is something you're gonna do? Laura Voorhees is leading by example, saying, "I'm going to be kind to myself." What color would you highlight that with? Now I'm looking at um, my color coded day today. Remember, I showed you yesterday? Well, yesterday I got a lot of good stuff done. Oh, let me see. Oh, hey, and this is cool. My husband actually took the trash out last night, so I don't have that. I love it. Garrett's got a nap in their future, so very cool. Laura Voorhees is going to use purple. I use pink. But see, notice this. See this right here? That's yoga. I did yoga last night too, just a very gentle type thing, and I really enjoy the teacher, so I went to that. But I've got some yoga this morning, and it really helps me. It gets me out of the house. It took very long for me to get out of the house yesterday because it was cold out. But this will get me out of the house. And it looks warm out, but I know it's not as warm because I heard the wind chimes. So I hope you did some good stuff for yourself yesterday. I hope you got some good stuff done. And the things you didn't get done, consider looking at your schedule today. Consider carrying some over from yesterday. If you didn't get them done, just write them down on today's schedule. But if you don't have time to do that, maybe you put those things back on your main list of, things that you need to do. If you're not, if you look at the amount of time you have to devote to things today and the amount of energy you have to devote your things today, maybe you won't get some stuff done that you thought you were going to get done yesterday. And that's okay. And that's okay. You can put something back on the shelf if you're not going to use that ingredient. You can put it back where it belongs, maybe temporarily, like the pantry of ideas, your pantry list. Maybe that's what we'll call it. You've got like a shopping list of all these things that you could do, but they don't all have to be on today's list. Now, I love this. I'm going to share this with Louise because Louise is seeing the kind of cumulative effect of decluttering. Louise was saying she was struggling with her kitchen table being a mess, and she cleared that. And now notice how she's starting the day feeling so happy to wake up to an uncluttered kitchen table. It immediately encouraged me to clean up the sink dishes. Awesome. Awesome stuff, Louise. And notice that kind of positive ripple effect. The What do they call it now? And I don't want to talk about like finances and stuff because of what's going on in the world. Ugh. Compound interest. You do something like the Fabergé organic shampoo commercial. You did something that's encouraging you to do something else and then do something else and then do something else. And each one of those things is going to increase the amount of decluttered space in your kitchen. So good for Louise. Yay. I give you a little clappy clap. And since I can do this, toot, 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 sending you those little cornucopias with the streamers and confetti and little hearts. Why the hell not? Let's have some fun. Send Louise some love. That's what we're doing here because love will encourage you. Fear will discourage you. Love will encourage you. And um, I find I work better in an environment of encouragement versus discouragement. So that's the kind of environment I want to create. You know, I endeavor to love myself every day, getting pretty good at it. I endeavor to, I don't know why I call it that. I try to make things happen. Maybe I'm being like Milchick and using fancy words, right? You know, um, but I try to love myself and give myself grace. Grace, grace, grace all over the place. And I try to give other people grace too. And when I don't, I try to notice it and do something different next time. But give yourself some grace. What made you feel good today when you woke up? Did you have an uncluttered cluttered kitchen table? Everybody, let's take a page out of Louisa's book. Everybody, think of your kitchen table if you're not in your kitchen, or maybe this will be the encouragement to get out of bed and just look at your own kitchen table if you have a kitchen table. And how's your kitchen table looking? Now, here's a funny thing with mine. I'm picturing it in my head, and we're pretty good because I like a clean kitchen table because I grew up in a cluttered kitchen table. I grew up in a cluttered kitchen table home with stuff always kind of piled up and around and on. I know that because I go home to my mother's house where I will be in a few days, and she still has those same habits. So I really enjoy having a minimal kitchen table. So it feels good. There's one thing, though, I will share that there's one thing on our kitchen table that I strategically moved it from a less obvious place to an obvious place, which is a package that my husband wants to mail. He was going to mail it yesterday. He didn't. So I put it kind of on this action corner, this corner of the table to say, this is here temporarily. Maybe you guys do this. Do you ever do this where you have um, a thing that you or a visual reminder, you put a thing somewhere in your line of vision to remind yourself to take an action? So that's what I did with him, and hopefully it'll work. Now if it doesn't, no big deal, he's going to see his friend next week, but he said he wanted to do it, so I'm trying to encourage him to do what he said he wanted to do. So think about that. Now I love this. Laura Voorhees, body is vertical, check. Yeah, going from horizontal in bed to vertical. We are all working on our math. So, yay. And washing the dishes. Good for you. Louise and Laura are washing their dishes together. Now, here's the funny thing. I totally admit, I totally admit that there are dirty dishes rinsed off in our sink. And you know why? Because of me. Because my chore, my responsibility is to empty out the dishwasher of clean dishes. And I kind of forgot that. I had some time yesterday that I could have done it, and I saw the sign that says it says closed on it, which means that the dishes are clean. Um, I forgot to do it yesterday. No big deal. I'll do it today. I'll get it done. So I'm not worrying. I'm not beating myself up about it being perfectly clean every time. There will be dishes in your sink. It's tightening up the amount of time they're shortening the amount of time that they're there. There we go. Garrett Phillips, yay for sign making party. Love it. Working on cleaning up my table now for my sign making party last Friday. Wonderful. So, working on cleaning up your table. Anybody else want to clean your kitchen table along with folks? Seems like a lot of folks are in the kitchen. If not, no big deal. You do you. You do what you need to do right here between 7:13 a.m. and 8 a.m. Eastern time. Now, here's a funny thing. I'll share this with you just as kind of, news of the day type of thing. So, we have a decluttering party this afternoon. I've never done a weekday decluttering party, and I've never done one that starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's going to go from 1 p.m. Eastern to 2:30, I guess, right? That's an hour and a half. So, if you're interested and you have the time and you want to join in, maybe you've got some stuff, maybe you've got some free time this afternoon. So, look at your schedule, look at your calendar you know? Um, and maybe you want to join us at the party. It's good. We get a handful of people is going to show up. Have you got something you're dragging your feet on? That having a little bit of encouragement kind of midday on a Tuesday could do that. And then here's the fun thing. Then if you do the decluttering on a Tuesday, then you have less decluttering or maybe no decluttering to do on the precious weekend if you're a Monday through Friday type person. So 1 p.m. Eastern, the ticket link is there, and the ones for all the other parties too are there. I love this. Um, uh, that one persona says, "Don't feel like working on the kitchen? Tidy the bedroom with me." So that one persona is tidying the bedroom. Now I can't tidy the bedroom because I joke about this. This is how I avoid having to make the bed. And making the bed is a very loose term in our house because it's basically just tidying it up. But I can't make the bed because my husband's still in it. Oh, there we go. Now, Louise, your love language is making food for other people and delivering it. I love that about you. Louise is making haddock dinner. God, I haven't heard of haddock in a wicked long time. Making haddock dinner for my daughter's in-laws and will deliver. What a wonderful way to do something you love, which is cooking and connect with people. It will be so nice to be doing this while glancing over at my table. Yeah, and here's a wonderful thing, Louise, is you love being in the kitchen to use it for what it actually is, kind of designed for, which is cooking, and how much easier it will be even just feeling as you glance over while you're making the haddock, glancing over at the table, and instead of going, ugh, looking at a messy table, you're saying, ah. And so decluttering is the gift that keeps on giving. I can't remember what the original gift that keeps on giving was. Who knows? Maybe it was syphilis, but I digress. Um, uh, Notice that the temporary time you put into decluttering gives you that maximum kind of time when your eyes look at a nice clear surface. You know, I guess I might keep that one in my thing by the laughter I got from that one persona in Laura Voorhees. Yeah, I might keep that one in my routine, huh? But but notice that decluttering can have a really long lasting effect. Because the opposite is true. Every time you look at someplace, every time I look at you, you always make me say, ugh. You look at something and you say, oh, I got to do that. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, I got to do that. I got to clean that off. I got to clean that off. Right. Maybe she was born with it. Maybe it's an STD. Right. Um, but notice how your eyes really are. I mean, they're one of your senses, but they're one of the ones that does affect how we feel. When you look at trash on the side of the road, you could be like the little Indian guy who was like crying in the 70s. You could be like Woodsy Owl. Help Woodsy spread the word. Never be a dirty bird in the city or in the woods. Help keep America looking good. Hoot, hoot. Right? This is what's in my brain, people. Um, but you look at things and they can make you feel a certain way. You look at the pictures of the sad pups on the TV shows and you want to donate your money. You look at something that doesn't look like the way you want it to, and it can make you feel, ugh. But when you do something about it and you clean up that mess in a way that feels good to you, you don't just shove it, that kind of shove it and pitch and ditch it. That can make you feel good every time you glance at it. So notice that you can control how you feel by improving how things look in your home. And I'm not talking about buying decorations and getting new draperies. No, I'm talking about just cleaning off surfaces. That's what I feel when I look around and I see clean surfaces. Now, the funny thing for me is you guys know that we're getting work done in the basement. So there is more stuff. I don't know if I can show you, but notice how things are starting to pile up. There's some boxes of my books that I used to do. There's some things that for when we have people over, there's my little um, uh, tray there. And this whole hallway is starting to get filled with shelves because we're moving. Everything has to be moved out of the basement. And our living area is going to be more cluttered than ever before, temporarily. So, temporarily, things can look bad on the way to looking better. It will look worse in our living spaces because we are working on making the basement look better. And then that temporary clutter up here will be put downstairs. Ideally, there will be less of it. And yes, it will be so much more organized and containerized when we put it down there. So notice the temporary aspect. How long do you want to have your house just temporarily cluttered? Can you start to declutter sooner rather than later? Hey, yo, Cat Roby. Cat Roby has liked the live. Okay, we want to practice liking the live. There are 21 people watching and 9 thumbs up. Do you want to join your thumbs up to the likes? It might help get the word out to more people on YouTube about this Destination Decluttered YouTube live. That I'll be here for another 40 minutes. So she liked the live. She's got her scheduled Beth Blinders. What are on your scheduled Beth Blinders? Planning her day, scanning 3 email boxes and to-do list while sipping coffee. There we go. I'm sipping my tea. And hey, everybody, look who it is. Carla Jane. Carla Jane is in the house. Everybody, Carla Jane's in the house. And I just noticed she's going to be at our decluttering party today. So, yay, hun. Good to see you and glad you're doing okay. All right. So, good stuff, people. Good stuff. We are here for each other. And we are here for each other and we welcome new folks. So, in case we haven't met, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered because I love to travel. I love the road trip metaphor, as it were, because you wouldn't treat your car like you typically treat your life, which is kind of comical. You treat your car oftentimes better than your life. And I know that because I have done that, but also your life and your car help you go where you want to go. Now Penny Myers says, "My sink and table are good because I was gone all weekend." But the neat thing is, Penny Myers, is that prior to being gone all weekend, you got your sink and table in good condition. You just didn't leave in a mess. Now, again, I want to remind everybody, surface clutter for a percentage of your surface clutter is the evidence of everyday living. Is the evidence of stuff that you left out yesterday and you didn't put away. There will be like a little bump of stuff that's on your surfaces that you can attribute to that stuff that accumulated yesterday. So then there's the stuff that accumulated last week and maybe last month, and maybe it's been there for forever. Maybe it's grown roots and it's planted there. So notice that stuff and tighten up, like Archie Bell and the Drills. Tighten up. Maybe you want to tighten up just getting even chunking down the clutter you have. And I'm telling you, you guys, the more I coach, the more it is so much about breathing down, shoulders down, relaxing down, quieting down your nervous system, writing down, getting your thoughts out of your head down onto paper. That's another down. Writing down and chunking down, chunking down. And there's so many ways you can chunk down stuff. And we chunk down things so that you to that point where your nervous system and head agree that that is such a small step that you could do that. You could get started by taking that one small step. So another way of chunking down your clutter is to categorize it, is to sort it into chunks. And sorting it down to say, I'm not going to declutter everything because if I think I'm going to declutter everything, I get overwhelmed and I don't even try. But maybe I'll just look at I Spy with my little eye. I make a game of it. We have fun and we get it done. I spy with my little eye the stuff that accumulated on that one surface yesterday. And I will only deal with the yesterday stuff. And when you do that, that is enough to get your body moving. Like the Beastie Boys, I think it was. To get yourself vertical and washing the dishes like Laura Voorhees is. I can do that. That. I can do it can be very vague. I can do that. That is a little bit more specific. You can point at it, but I think that, you know? So anybody got some decluttering they want to do? That was stuff from yesterday. Putting the socks in the hamper and praying to God that one of them doesn't disappear between now and when you pull them out of the dryer to play matchy matchy. Am I right? Maybe it's literally even just wiping off the surround of the sink and polishing off that polishing the faucet. Maybe it's wiping down, clearing some things off of one tiny surface, one square foot of a bigger surface. Maybe you'll just chunk it down by a grid. But really, this is the beautiful thing, you guys, is the more I talk about clutter, the more I coach people about clutter, the more I see, and you may not see it because you only see me an hour a day, but this is something that goes through my head and my heart and out my mouth for hours a day. That really, it can be as simple as Sitting down, quieting down, breathing down, getting yourself out of fight or flight, and chunking, writing down some things. Yes, make a big list. Get all your getting your thoughts out of your head, out of the cauldron of spaghetti that's swirling around. Dump it out of the out into the colander, and then each one of the strands of spaghetti is just a sentence that includes a verb. Make sure you include a verb. A verb is action. Verb, that's what's happening. What verbs are you going to verb today? I'm going to wash the dishes. I'm going to fold the laundry. I'm going to try to match up my socks, right? And what verbs are you going to verb today that are going to make you feel better about your clutter? And it could be you have decades worth of clutter you're working on. No big deal. It could be that you're just in the maintenance mode, which you will be for the rest of your life. Because if you stop maintaining, you're going to start gaining, kind of like, you know, weight. But if it's your stuff's going to pile up. So has your mail started to pile up? What can you do a little bit of in the next 34 minutes? Now, I love the fact that Kat Roby is using this time to plan her day. She's got a to-do list. Now, a to-do list is wonderful, and putting it maybe some of those items, not all or nothing, some of the items on her calendar. And I say calendar, I mean her calendar for today, her hours between, 7 a.m. and, 7 p.m. or thereabouts, you know? So maybe you're spending some time sipping your coffee, sitting down, sipping your beverage of choice. If you don't have a beverage of choice, water is always a good one. And maybe I'll just talk a little quieter. Maybe seriously, you can have me on in the background. Turn down the volume. I'm still there, but I want you to hear yourself think. That's like a phrase from my life, my childhood, my mother. I can't hear myself think when there's too much going on. I can't hear myself think. And it's important for you to be able to hear yourself think because you think a lot of good things. Yeah, you've got some backseat drivers. We all do. But you also have some wheat in with that chaff. You also have some, good stuff in with the bad, you know? Now, Wendy says, I forgot I had coffee on my desk. I haven't had a sip yet. It's at the 4 a.m. hour in the Pacific time zone. Well, thank you for getting up this early to hang out with us and me. And yes, as a reminder, everybody hydrate. Okay. Now, Laura Voorhees has some leftovers, and not just of the food kind. My to do list is yesterday's leftovers. I'm going to try to aim for the things that have been on the list for a week. Yeah, notice that time frame. You have the ones from yesterday and the things that have been on there for a week. So, what I would do, Laura, I'm just going to offer this to you because this is what I try to do. I try to help is I would look at the things that I have had on there for longer than a couple of days, and I would get curious. I would not get judgy. I would get curious why I hadn't gotten them done. And I would listen for the answer. Now, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes there are some things I put on my list that carry over because there's no time urgency and I just don't feel like doing them at that time. So I am okay with some stuff getting carried over. Maybe you are too. Maybe you're feeling okay with some things you haven't gotten done yet because I'm looking over here at tons of notes of things that I want to remember, actions I want to take, that type of thing. And I'm okay with a lot of that stuff not happening. But if there's things you want to happen and you haven't yet, get curious and ask yourself why. And also try the chunking down. Could you what's a little chunk you could chip away at to get started at that project? That one project, how can you chunk that down into like 4 or 5 little chunks of actions, you know? Okay. So that one persona, thank you for sharing your frustration. Um, alrighty. Alrighty. Well, actually, before I get to you, that one persona, I just want to wave to Louise. Everybody, Louise needs to get ready to drive to Maine. She's in New Hampshire. She's going to Maine for her lymphedema appointment. Then back home to get started on dinner to deliver. She's scooting for now, but then she will turn back on for the ride. Yay. Okay. Now, Laura Voorhees, right. I do the things that are time sensitive and back burner stuff like bath for the dog. Yes. So notice that you may be in the habit of, and this is, that one persona, I want to get into that. You may be in the habit of doing the things like putting out fires. Now, I don't know if anybody here is a firefighter or a real life firefighter, but notice you're putting out fires, but then there's other things that are smoldering that might go into fires. Your dog might get some sort of skin disease if you don't, I don't know, wash the dog or something. I'm totally making stuff up. But notice if you are in the habit of only addressing things when they get to a crisis mode or a close to their due date mode. Okay. Yes. Now, that one persona, I totally want to spend some time with you. So she's saying, just to share frustration. It seems every time I get my kitchen looking better, something happens to make it messy again. I cleared a lot of paper cluttered and cluttered counter, but then the basement gets water in it and stuff has to come up. Okay. So here is a specific word that I think will be really interesting because this to me is the backseat driver talking. Now, I'm not saying that you didn't get your basement water in it and you had to bring stuff up from the basement and put it into your kitchen. But really, kind of like John Waite and the Babies, every time I think of you, it always turns out good. I mean, that makes for a good song. Do not get me wrong. We need our songs to not be so, they could be kind of wishy-washy. But can you imagine the more realistic thing is like, many times I think of you, it turns out good, but sometimes I think of you and I want to, kick you in the shins, right? So if you tell yourself that kind of that defeating, that not good feeling, every time I get my kitchen looking better, something happens. I just offer, really? Every time, every single time, it always turns out bad. No, where's my every time I clean the kitchen, it always gets crapped up again. Every time. No, many times, occasionally, there have been instances when, but think there may be times when you have cleaned up your kitchen and it has stayed that way for a bit of time. Okay? I just say that and those things stuck. I mean, trust me, I get it when unexpected things happen. What I'm going to offer to you though is especially everybody, especially the kitchen, especially the rooms in your home that you spend a lot of time in. That tend to be, the heart of the city. The heart of rock and roll is still beating. Just came to my head. The kitchen tends to be the hub. Tends to be where a door is that you come in. Maybe that's where your basement door is, and you're putting stuff there. Kitchens are usually the places that get cluttered most often, but it tends to be the times when. So you may have you have fewer glimpses of it being done than when it is in active like kitchen mode. You've got stuff hanging up on the washer and dryer, and then that counter, and 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 then that table, and then maybe you've got some stuff on the floor. So kitchens will get cluttered. They will, just by the nature of everyday life and when something unexpected happens, like the water rising in your basement. It's okay. It's okay. I highly recommend getting in the habit of then increasing the frequency with, and I don't mean it takes over your life, but put stuff back where it belongs or closer to where it belongs sooner rather than later so you can get longer glimpses of your kitchen looking that way. Okay? But really notice, to get back at this, please everybody, one of the things noticing and listening to yourself is notice the words your brain chooses to offer up and your voice or your typing hand or your writing hand decides to confirm the usage of. When you confirm the usage of every time, you're saying it's true. But I'm going to bet you it's not that true. Every single time that happens. And if it is, cool. If it is every single time, yay. Let's talk about how it gets that way and how it stays that way. But really pay attention to the words you use and ask yourself, and this is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons I say write these things down. And when I'm coaching, I say fold a piece of paper in half from your notebook, your workbook. And one column is backseat driver words, and the other column is co pilot words. And when you're writing down what's going through your head, you have to choose what column they go in. You are categorizing. You are sorting your words out and saying, is this my backseat driver or is this my co-pilot? And if you do that and you're listening to yourself and you notice the words the vocabulary that your backseat driver uses, it's typically all or nothing, very declarative, very dramatic. It's not mindful and demure. It is dramatic words about all the time. You always do that. You never do that. It's never good. I do that. And then always something happens that junks it up. Total backseat drivers. Backseat drivers are fear, and backseat drivers are words that are meant to make you feel bad. Don't make yourself feel bad. Let's stick a pin in that. Is it because that's your backseat driver and your co-pilot is curiosity and love? Curiosity and love. Is it really every time? Every single time, just like John Waite and that baby song from back in the day? Has there been one time where you cleaned off the kitchen and it stayed that way for a few hours? Okay, then it's not every. This is also when my brain shifts from like you're having a conversation, but it's really like you are in a court, you know? The backseat driver is up on the witness stand and it can only tell the truth. And then you're there like a really cool I almost said Perry Masonry, like on the Flintstones, Perry Mason. Is it really true that that always happens? Well, no, happens a lot. It I'm just saying, notice the words. Notice where they're coming from in the car and question the words. Question all of them, frankly. It is good to be curious about the messages that you are deciding to believe because what you believe means there's buy-in in your head and heart, and then your beliefs will lead to your actions. Okay? So, that was me gabbing here. Okay. Um all right. So Wendy LCM is saying, yesterday I was going to do some chores when I got off work, but I ended up distracted to swap out a storage place for my laundry room, shoe racks over the doors to hold my various cleaning sprays. Okay. All roads lead to Rome. Um, and I learned all roads lead to Paris because Notre Dame is like not ground zero. It sounds too Hiroshima, but it's like where they start all the mileage or the kilometers in France. But yeah, Wendy, you thought you were going to do one thing, you did something else. Is this going to help you? Hopefully, you're thinking it's going to help you. So cool. So you did that yesterday, and now you can go back to chores. So you make choices, feel good about them. I used to have to clean the kitchen so I could cook. It is distressing to have to mess again, like getting my stove pretty, then big sign when I spill on it. Yeah, it's gonna happen though. You guys, it's gonna happen. That's what kitchens are for. Kitchens are for. That's why they make them so the surfaces can be wiped down and easily cleaned. Your kitchen, if your kitchen was not meant to be used, if your stove was not meant to be used, it would not be made of that like enamel baked porcelain. It would be made out of like I keep on thinking like velour. Can you imagine a velour topped stove? First time the spaghetti sauce plops over the top, it will be ruined. No, kitchens are meant to be used. It is a working room in your house. And things will temporarily, here's a word to put in your lexicon, not always and not never, temporarily. While you are using it, stuff will temporarily look worse, but then it will look better afterwards. And then you'll also have a nice pot of spaghetti, you know? Now, Garrett says, table cleared. Yay. Science supplies put away. Yay. Taking a break to eat my oatmeal for energy to get more done. Yay. Love it. Laura says, does anyone else look at a room that doesn't feel done and you wish you were Mary Poppins and everything went where you wanted to at the snap of a fingers? Oh, hell yeah. It's funny because I'm not saying I'm not a Mary Poppins fan. I actually have never watched the movie. It just wasn't part of my childhood. But me, I'm totally do. I'm totally Samantha Bewitched or do. I Dream of Jeannie. Yeah, all the time. Yeah. And yes, Laura, and spot on. Your brain does work faster than your hands and your feet. If your brain had its way, you would be driving 90 miles an hour all the time. This and that and this and that and this and that and this and that and this. But your brain, probably rightly so, is encased in a body that can only move so fast. So it's learning how to play together with those things. Okay. So, what I will offer, and this is funny because Becky is going to find something. You're going to go on a treasure hunt in your freezer and you're going to find tonight's dinner. Love it. Yeah. And it did help. So you did. Yep. When I was little, I wasted my wishes on wanting to be like Samantha on Bewitched. If I could only wiggle my nose, it could be done. A little check-in from Kat Roby, email box 2 to go. Awesome. 7:42, just to give everybody kind of a Eastern Coast time. You do the math if you're in a different time zone. It's 42 minutes past the hour. That means it's 18 minutes of the next hour. And I'm going to sign off, right at the hot dot because I have to jump into coaching in a full day of good stuff. But Laura Voorhees, you are right, but you can be the person who makes it look the way you want it to. Because pretend it's this way. Pretend you had somebody like you would have to tell Mary Poppins what you didn't like about that room. So you can be your own Mary Poppins. You can be your own Samantha. You can be your own dreamy Jeannie. You can be that person. Now, it won't be immediate like that, but you can make it look like you want it. What I would do is I would pretend I had a maid or somebody to do it for me, right? And I would sit there to myself and I would sit there pretending I have a clipboard and I would be like, okay, destination living room. And I would look around and I would enjoy what looks good, say, yep, I like that. Oh, you know what I want to do? Or I want to have done, however you want to word it. You know what I don't really like there, or I would like it to be better? And I would write it down and I would make a punch list. I would make a punch list because if I was able to hire somebody to do it, and I could, I would be able to give them a list. Carefully poke the toothpicks. I would be able to give them a list of the things. It's just a list of stuff between where you are and how you want it to be in that one room is a finite number of items. And you can chunk that down. You can do one of those items a day. So you can be that person. The number of things between where you are now and one room of your house looking better is finite. Now, this may be something that tomorrow, it's like tomorrow you make your oatmeal and you drop a few crumbs on the counter, and then maybe you put it in the microwave and you put it in too small a bowl, and then it blurps over when it's warming up. And so you've got some oatmeal to be in the microwave, so you got to wipe that down, and then you eat it, but then you get that film of oatmeal on your spoon and your thing, and so you put it in the sink and then you forgot to put some water in it. So later on, you're going to have to scrub it out before you put it maybe in the dishwasher. these things are going to happen. Instead of deciding to get bent out of shape or all riled up about it, say to yourself, these things are going to happen in the kitchen. These things are going to happen in the bathroom. The only time a room gets decluttered and stays decluttered is when nobody is living in it. When you've got like the velvet rope that says do not go in there. When you've got the plastic, you know, slip covers over the stuff. Okay. So um, it's going to happen. So just get cool with it. Don't don't activate your nervous system because that burns your energy. Just know that it's going to happen. Um, yeah. So Judy Dukes is noticing the difference. Speaking of doing dishes, because she went to bed with a sink of dishes and a dishwasher too empty. Me too. Woke up to that. Yuck. Notice, yuck. Mr. Yuck. I don't like that taste. I don't like that feeling. I will change that so I can get up to a clean kitchen because it feels much better and it's a nicer way to start the day, you know? And yeah, be nice to future Judy, but also please be nice to past Judy too. Do not beat up last night Judy who decided to go to bed without doing the dishes. Be nice to all the Judys. Just say Judy, right? Be nice to all the Judys. Be nice to all the Cats. Be nice to all the Wendy's. Be nice to all the Lauras. Be nice to all the Carlas, the past, the present, and the future. It really is. Past, present, and future. Be nice to all of y'all, okay? And I'm not even Southern. But you are noticing a difference. You prefer, kind of like, what was his name? Bartleby the Scrivener. I prefer not to. I prefer, if I have my choice, which I do, I like it better when I wake up and the dishes are done. Now, sometimes I'm lucky enough. I have a husband who's late night, and sometimes he does the dishes. So other times I also don't make a big deal of it. In the morning, I'll just do the dishes, which I highly recommend, Judy. Don't flagellate yourself. Don't beat yourself up about last night. Just notice it and do something so the dishes are done sooner rather than later. So you have a wider amount of time that you're feeling good every time you look over at the sink. And then I say every time you look at the sink, until of course you make a cup of coffee and your coffee cup goes in there. And then unless you put it right into the dishwasher, things will accumulate throughout the day in the sink. And then it's up to you to decide when you want to put them in the dishwasher. So please be kind to your web footed friends. Be kind to yourself. Show yourself some grace and show grace to others. Don't be so quick to burn and to get ignited, when those things happen. The less stuff that is igniting you or smoldering you, it doesn't go into a raging fire. I don't know. That's just some words that decided to come up. There we go. I am the dishwasher. Yes, Laura Voorhees, I'm telling you. So we've been in our house for 20 years, and 10 years in, we said, okay, if we're going to stay here, we need to make some changes to this kitchen because the kitchen had not been updated since 1955. And so it literally had this crazy electric or, mechanical dishwasher that pulled out like a drawer. And it was all, and you could put the dishes in. Now it never worked when we were here, but it was a sink unit. So I used to joke for 10 years that I was like, yeah, we have a dishwasher, these right here. Right. So I get that. But if you are the dishwasher, instead of, try to enjoy doing the dishes as much as you can. Do a good job. Get them nice and squeaky clean. Get out the little scrubby stuff. Delight in the warmth of the sudsy soap. Madge, you're soaking in it. Palm olive. You know, maybe you put on some gloves. Maybe you listen to a podcast while you do the dishes by hand. And I love this. Realizing, noticing, observing, feeling is part of what we're doing with decluttering because you're going to notice that one way feels different than the other. And I keep on saying way, one way feels different than another, and one way feels better than the other. Judy is saying it was good for me to realize the difference in how it made me feel. So notice you're seeing the contrast, the yin and yang. I feel this way when I wake up in the morning and look at the kitchen and the dishes are done. I feel this way. When I wake up in the morning, I go into the kitchen and the dishes are still in the sink. I feel this way. That means you have a choice and you can change it. You can delightfully delight tomorrow you by tonight by doing the dishes now for today you, for present you. And today before you go to bed, you can treat yourself, treat future you, tomorrow morning you, which would be Wednesday, April 9th, and do the dishes before you go to bed. Maybe that's something, Judy, that you use your habit tracker for. Doing the dishes before I go to bed or making sure that the sink is empty, you know? So, but notice there is a f- things are not, I remember in math, there was a single point that's so small it only is a point, and then there's like a point between two lines. There's always a flip side, the yin and yang, the evil and the good, the fear and the love. The empty sink makes you feel a certain way. A full sink of dirty dishes makes you feel a certain way. Um, a full dishwasher of dirty dishes makes you feel a certain way. A full dishwasher of clean dishes makes you maybe feel a different way. Notice then you can do something to increase the good feeling by doing something. So I love that, you know? And Laura Voorhees is saying that the heater in the kitchen is right by my feet and it feels so good. Who doesn't love a heater near their feet? Right now, I can hear the heat, as Glenn Fry from the Eagles might say, "The heat is on." No, 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 no. We say that, we sing that all the time in the house when the heat turns on. But yeah, what can you do to make it enjoyable? And as you're doing the dishes tonight, Judy Dukes, and anybody else, think of the future. Think of how good it feels to know that you're going to wake up. It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside. And when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling, a feeling to know you're alive. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. It's a good feeling when you're doing your dishes today to know that tomorrow morning when you wake up, you're going to feel good looking at what you did. And on the days where you didn't do it, that's okay. You'll do it sooner rather than later, says the woman who has dirty dishes in her sink because she didn't empty out the clean dishes from the dishwasher. I'm not beating up past Beth. I spent so many decades of my life beating up all versions of me. I am done with that. I am not beating myself up anymore. I will have things I will regret and I wish I hadn't done it, but it won't be with intention. It's going to be with mindlessness. It's going to happen. But for the most part, I am stopping beating myself up, past me, present me, and future me. I suggest you do the same. Stopping the beating up, putting up the traffic cop hand. Stop right there. No, before you go any further, don't talk bad about my friend. Don't talk bad about my husband. Don't talk bad about my neighbor. You can talk bad about some people, they deserve it, but not you. You're good people. Only good people. I only hang around with good people. Okay? You can stop. You can interrupt. You can disrupt. That's what we have to do a lot of, internally and externally. Disrupt and interrupt the stuff you don't like and offer a better version, a different version that's going to make you feel good, not just in the short term, but in the long term. Standing up for what's right for yourself. Yeah. So, all this talk about dishes, you know what I need to put on my list? Empty dishwasher. I'm writing it down, thought in head in case I don't forget it. And then I practice looking at my list. Because the list up here, nah. But the list down here, empty dishwasher. And I wrote it slow. My brain goes 90 miles an hour. My hand, am I typing? Oh boy, am I not a good typist. But slowing down my brain so that I can write legibly, also preserves a calming effect because it slows down. My brain needs to talk slower to keep up with my slow hand. And it's not the slow hand like, what's his name? Eric Clapton. Okay. So, speaking of, Judy said it's a good idea. She's going to add, do the dishes nightly to her habit tracker. How's your habit tracker going? We are now over a week into April. How are you doing with your habits? Now notice me right here. I'm truth in advertising. I had a whole bunch of days where I did not bring this with me. I'm not going to bring my habit tracker when I'm traveling. When I do, because I'm going to be out in Palm Springs for a number of days coming up, I will bring it then because I'm going to be living out there, not kind of traveling. But that being said, I did not expect myself to do a lot of those things. Did I do them organically? Yes, I got some steps in. I took some vitamins, things like that. Do I have some potholes? Yeah. Yeah, totally. Ooh, but you know what? I did have one that I didn't wipe in. There we go. I'm going to fill in that one. And yes, I did not drink enough water yesterday. I did not drink water number 2. All right, Ellen, have a happy, productive Tuesday and stay warm. Oh, yes, because it looks warm out. Can you see now since we've been talking? The sun is out. The sky is blue. It's beautiful, but it's probably freaking cold out. Wait, 7:56. How did it get to be 7:56 already? Thank God I checked because I have to sign off in about 3 minutes, people. Time flies when you're having fun, huh? Oh, yeah. It's 33 out. It feels like 23. Now, this is the good thing about me scheduling going to yoga. I walk there. That is something that helps me get out of the house. And it's important. Oh, Becky, snowing in Pittsburgh. Yeah, and so windy. Yeah, I'm going to totally bundle up. I'm going to do something to feel good because I feel better when I'm bundled up and I don't feel so good when I don't wear the right clothes for the weather. So notice I have control over there's something I can do to make myself feel better. So I offer that to you. So a couple of things. What could you do today to make yourself feel better? Laura Voorhees has snowflakes in the air. Snowflakes in the air, everywhere and every sound. Now, I have some coaching. It's going to make me feel good. I've got yoga. There's another TikTok live. Or excuse me, there's another live today on TikTok, 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're around, feel free to stop by. Also, the very first ever weekday decluttering party at 1 p.m. Eastern until 2:30. We've got a handful of people. The tickets are still available. Even I was thinking about this too. If you're in an office or you work by yourself, you could even have the declutter party on in the background and use it to help you get something done at your work you've been dragging. 3 20-minute sections. You could use it for decluttering. You could also help you use that to focus on some projects at work that you maybe have to get done. Just a thought, because I know some people work Monday through Friday and they may not be home decluttering, but you could use those 3 20-minute chunks of concentration to help yourself feel better about something you may be dragging your feet on at work. Okay. Now I'm going to sign off, but there's a couple of other times we can see each other today. Thank you for spending this time with me, helping me wake up. It has been a joy, always a pleasure to see the friendly names. I hope you have a good day, and I will see you when I see you. Okay. Bye.